What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody out there is happy and healthy. And also, for those of you who clicked on the video to give it a watch, I appreciate the support. Now, with all of that said, let's go ahead and slide on this video. And I want to start off by talking about Diddy, because it's been announced that Trump is revisiting the idea of giving Diddy a pardon yet again. Now, nothing is set in stone, and as a matter of fact, Diddy isn't the only one that Trump is considering giving a pardon to. There are up to 250 individuals that he's making this consideration for, and the thought process for this is basically 250 pardons for 250 years marking Independence Day. Now, I want you guys to sit back and check out these couple of clips, and then I'll be back.
Breaking news coming to us from the White House. Sources tell CBS News President Trump is considering a pardon for Sean Diddy Combs. The music mogul is currently serving a sentence of just over 4 years in federal prison. You'll remember he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution last year. We've also learned the president is likely to pardon some pollution violators. All this is fresh information from our team. So let's jump to CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi, who's on the North Lawn of the White House for us today. Olivia, good morning. What can you tell us about these potential pardons and who may be among them?
Hey, Errol, good afternoon. It's good to be with you. Yeah, President Trump is actually having a meeting today in the White House behind me where he will be discussing a slate of potential pardons. And CBS News has learned that one potential name that has been coming up is Sean Diddy Combs. We're told the president has not made a decision yet on whether or not to pardon Combs for those crimes, but it is something he is considering. Some of the other pardons they are thinking about are people who were convicted of emissions and clean air related violations. There has been a flurry of activity in the last several weeks of people lobbying for those pardons. The president had even potentially discussed doing several hundred pardons around the birthday of the U.S., of course, that 250th anniversary, which we are all celebrating today and tomorrow. But still no word yet on whether he has made the ultimate decision to pardon Combs. Of course, that was a very high-profile case, would certainly be a controversial pardon as well, given the fact that trial was such a high-level trial related to the treatment of women in Combs' life. So we are watching to see, but at this point we are told that the president has not made a decision. He is only considering that at this point.
All right, President Trump considering a slew of pardons for people, including potentially Sean Diddy Combs. Really interesting reporting there.
New reporting from CBS has confirmed that the president is having private discussions about giving Diddy a get-out-of-jail-free card, essentially, either granting him some sort of clemency or a full pardon. Now, the president may not do it. There's no indication that he will do it today or anything. But discussions are being had, and it comes as Trump is discussing pardoning 250 people for America's 250th anniversary. And it looks as though Diddy could be one of them. May not be, but could be. Now, when you think about who the president typically should pardon, I'm not sure that Diddy is at the top of anyone's list. And it's not like he's pardoning low-level offenders who have spent too long inside federal prison. That's not what would happen here. So we'll see. By the way, millions of dollars are being spent on these pardons. I'm not saying Diddy spends the money, but a lot of people are.
Now, for those of you who've been a part of the Tough Crew for quite some time and stuck with me through thick and thin, you would know that I told you all months ago that there were some negotiations that were going down between Diddy's lawyers and the Trump administration. And the main topic of conversation as it pertains to giving Diddy a pardon was based off of how much Diddy was going to pay him. A lot of people jumped in the comments and told me that I was lying. But if you listen to what Aaron Parnas said towards the end of the last clip that I just played you, it highly supports what I told you months ago. There's millions of dollars that are involved when it comes to celebrities being locked up, and also high-powered politicians, high-powered doctors, so forth and so on. And in fact, I'm told that if Diddy wants to get out of prison before 2028, he would have to fork over upwards to the tune of $10 to $15 million, allegedly. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to hear this word being thrown around because so many people hide behind this word when they're lying and they're trying to push certain agendas. But I'm gonna tell you, I got this information from a strong political source. Now, what I'm about to say, I'm not saying that this information is factual, but potentially Diddy could have been out a whole lot earlier if he had forked over that money, just like in the same situation with Cassie. If he had went ahead and just forked over the money for Cassie, Cassie wouldn't have took it to where she needed to take it to get justice and to get compensation for all of the BS that he put her through. And so when I step back and look at the situation in its entirety, there are a couple of glaring factors. One being the fact that Trump was crossed by Diddy in his mind, because he said that him and Diddy were cool back in the day, up until he decided to run for president, and that's when Diddy switched up on him, right? And we know historically that Trump is the type of man to hold a vice grip-like type of grudge once you crossed him. And so it's not above the realm of possibility, if Diddy never crossed him, that the price to be granted clemency wouldn't be as steep. And so then you have the other factor kicking in when you have individuals within Trump's administration saying, hey, this wouldn't be a good idea to give Diddy a pardon. What does that say to women? And we know that Trump has his own checkered past when it comes to women. And so you have that factor too. But I would like to argue the fact that I don't believe that Trump cares about that. In fact, I think it's a strong possibility, if Diddy were to cough up the $15 million, that he could be granted clemency here. Now, me personally, if I was in that position, I'll see you in 2028. I'm not fitting to cough up $15 million, right? Got a year and some change left. It is what it is. Or 2 years, I'll do that standing on my head. But it's up to Diddy. It's up to Diddy. Allegedly, this is what I've been told, that the price tag is anywhere from $10 to $15 million for him to receive a pardon from President Trump. But anyway, let's move along, and I want to talk about the fact that on yesterday, people were celebrating July 4th and the fact that it marked 250 years where America gained its independence from Britain. Now, I'm well aware that a lot of people celebrated on yesterday, and I'm also aware that there were a lot of people that elected not to celebrate. But then there were others, like a YT Supreme group, that decided to show up in DC yesterday and basically protest, saying that they're taking their country back. Now, approximately there were 400 mass members of this YT Supreme group, and they crowded the Washington DC metro system. The group utilized the transit network to travel through the city, staging unannounced flash demonstrations. Now, you can look on this brother's face. He's like, yo, what the hell is going on? You could definitely tell he was uncomfortable. And then there was also a sister that was sitting in the midst of all of these individuals. Now, like I said earlier, they were going around marching and they were chanting, we're going to take our country back. Take a look at this clip.
For the victory of the American spirit! Life, liberty, victory! 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 Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America!
Now, after the parading, the group was filmed taking the metro out of DC and eventually exiting at the new Carrollton station in Maryland. Now, what I want to do is play you guys 1 or 2 reactions to all of this, and then I'll be back.
For the victory of the American spirit! Life, liberty, victory! Life, liberty, victory!
Oh, look at that little fella. Now, I wish I could say I was surprised, but on America's 250th birthday, there was a white supremacist incel parade in Washington, D.C. I tell you what, Sherman did not burn enough of the South down during the Civil War. We took it too easy on those pieces of shit. That flag should never be seen. It sure as hell shouldn't be marching through Washington, D.C. on the 250th anniversary of the United States. It's over 100 degrees in DC today too, and these dorks still going around hiding their faces because they're scared to show who they are. Though today those masks might be necessary. All these basement dwellers getting out of the house, all huddled up in over 100-degree heat, that's got to be pretty rank, standing next to these guys.
400 masked white supremacists descended on Washington, D.C. today, calling for a total Aryan victory. Here is some video from Mitchell Miller of WTOP.
Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America! Reclaim America!
The group carrying Confederate flags is called Patriot Front. Now, Donald Trump, as you know, is no stranger to white supremacist groups. The Proud Boys and the KKK protested at Charlottesville in 2017 and famously killed woman driving their car into her. Trump at the time said there were good people on both sides, referring to the white supremacists and the pro-civil rights protesters. The Proud Boys also played a key role in January 6th in the insurrection, and one of their leaders, Enrique Tarrio, was convicted of, I believe, 22 years in prison for seditious conspiracy, only to be pardoned completely by Donald Trump. Oath Keepers was another group at January 6th at the insurrection. Their founder, Stuart Rhodes, was also convicted of seditious conspiracy, and Trump let him go as well by commuting his sentence. Finally, on September 29th, 2020, Trump was called on to denounce the Proud Boys. Instead, he responded, "Stand back and stand by," which to many people sounded like he was saying, get ready to go into action and do something violent. Well, what happened a few months later? They stormed the Capitol along with everybody else. And then what happened? Trump pardoned and commuted all the sentences of these folks. All in all, Trump pardoned or commuted about 1,600 sentences of the insurrectionists on January 6th. About a third of them had attacked police. And then Trump tried to set up a fund, as you know, for almost $2 billion to give money to the people who tried to violently overthrow our government. That at least has been put on hold, but we need to keep an eye on it.
All right, so you guys heard what they had to say about the situation, and surprisingly, there are a lot of people that are on the right side of the aisle that didn't agree with what they did yesterday in Washington, the protest and showing up and just being disruptive and things of that nature. But anyway, I want to hear from y'all. Drop down and leave your thoughts. Have a blessed Sunday.